And as we mentioned a few moments ago, Kim Potter is spending this Christmas holiday in a jail cell after a jury convicted the former police officer of both manslaughter charges. Here now to dive deeper into the verdict, forensic psychiatrist Dr. Carole Lieberman. Thank you so much for being with us. How's it going?
Thank you. Fine, thank you.
Great. So just days ago, the jury signaled they were not really agreeing. Jurors asking Judge Regina Chu for guidance and what to do if they couldn't agree. But now, as we know, Kim Potter guilty. So was this verdict a surprise, Dr. Lieberman?
A shock, an absolute shock. I think she did not get a fair trial. I think that that from the beginning to the end, this was all under the shadow of George Floyd. I think that any trial should not have mobs outside of the courtroom trying to influence the jury. This was not a woman who, there's, the real Kim Potter was the one who was breaking down on the stand, not the one who, unfortunately, through most of her testimony, she had on this really stoic appearance, because that was the policewoman in her, not to show emotion. But the real her was the one who was a heap of sobs. And so I don't think that the jury saw enough of that and understood enough of that.
Okay, what do you think was so unfair about it? I mean, she had an opportunity to, sob if she needed to, or she remained stoic. That was her decision. So what was unfair?
No, I don't mean that part was unfair. What I mean is that the prosecutors, there was so much that was the same as George Floyd. First of all, the incident itself happened very close to where the George Floyd incident happened. It was during a time when there were mobs in the streets. Police were all feeling the threat of these mobs. It was that under that kind of tense circumstances that she made this mistake. She worked for the police for 26 years. And no problems, never even shot a taser or her gun, no less hit somebody with it. And she was dedicated. She decided to become a policewoman when she was in elementary school, in a Catholic elementary school, and a policeman came and talked. She was devoted to being a good cop ever since she was in elementary school. She went in junior high school. She became, patrol guard, and in high school, her whole life was devoted to protecting people and helping people. And I believe that this was an accident, first of all. And I believe that it really, that even the jurors, potential jurors, before they got chosen, and I think that was, part of the mistake that her attorneys made, but many of them said that they thought that she was, that they thought it was her fault, or but then they said, of course, oh, well, we can open our minds to it. I mean, there were a lot of mistakes. And the main issue, it was in the same courtroom as Derek Chauvin. It was in the same courthouse, obviously, many of the same prosecutors. It was just, let's get Kim Potter. Let's not to really understand what went on at that moment. And I can tell you what went on at that moment. I'm a forensic psychiatrist, so this is what I do, is analyze it. I have never spoken to Kim Potter, but from my perspective, she actually gave us the clues. She said when she saw the man who, her supervisor, who she, really looked up to for years, when she saw a look of fear on his face that she never saw before. That was the moment. That's when she started to cry. And that's when she realized that, things are really, if he's scared, things are really going to go out of control. And she kind of lost it. I mean, obviously she shot him, but she did. It was an accident. It was not a crime.
Right. For sure, it was an accident. I think we can all agree on that. But as an officer, I think you have to kind of know how to remain calm under certain circumstances, which maybe is what people would have wanted her to do in this instance. In recent trials, we've certainly seen the defendant testify. Kyle Rittenhouse, his testimony seemed to help in his acquittal. Travis McMichaels probably worked against him in the Ahmaud Arbery shooting trial. What do you think it was about Kim Potter's testimony that did not help her?
Well, mainly this stoicism, because that was the majority of her testimony, It was only at the end that she started to cry, first about her supervisor, seeing the look of fear. And then when the prosecutor, you must say, I mean, I know prosecutors are supposed to be tough, but there was something sadistic about this prosecutor. And so that's when she ultimately, broke down the most into sobs. I think that also what went wrong was the expert witness that they had. The psychologist who was supposed to explain, memory and so on. It was a good idea, to have somebody to try to explain that, but he was pompous. He's like exactly what you're not supposed to have an expert witness do. He was pompous. He talked in a way that put people to sleep because it was like jargon and you couldn't really understand what he was saying. He didn't make it simple. And so that didn't really help her. And, I think the other thing that really, I know that the judge didn't let this in, and I don't know about the law in Minnesota and whether that was an okay call or not. But, Dr. Wright has a documented history of crimes, not just the ones, the warrant and all of that, that they talked about, but he shot two of his friends in the head. Well, one of them in the head. He shot the other one as well. He robbed a woman.
Yes, but he was not on trial here. He wasn't on trial here. So we have to remember that and keep it front and center who was actually on trial here. And that was obviously Kim Potter. Really quickly, though, her mugshot, though, you talk so much about, how she was kind of stoic. And then she has this mugshot that a lot of people are talking about where she's smiling. What do you make of that? Right after she's convicted, she's smiling. What's that all about?
I think I saw that, and it is very confusing. And I think that either they said something that kind of made her laugh or whatever, or I think really she's losing it psychologically. I actually contacted her attorneys and told them to have her be put on suicide watch.
Wow. Okay. Well, Dr. Lieberman, we thank you for joining us on this afternoon to provide your insight, and happy holidays to you.
Thank you.